this. Tell me the story with Cuomo right now. So you got a couple things that's going on. Let's transition into that.
Okay.
So on one end, you're seeing the story about how 11 women are coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, first of all, Zuby, do you know who Andrew Cuomo is and what's going on?
Yeah, the governor of New York, right?
Yes, yes. So you hear stories about his stuff is coming out. 11, not his stuff is coming out, but his stories are coming out with 11 different.
His stuff's coming out, all
Yeah,
right.
it's definitely. But 11 women are, so then the other day, the awkward moment where the transition from Chris Cuomo to Don Lemon, and Don says, brother, I love you, Chris. Today we're going to talk about the governor of New York, which was
In a split second.
second, which was
That escalated quickly.
kind of awkward. But what should happen to Andrew? Biden's telling him he should step down. Should he step down?
Dude, he should step down. I just think it's amazing that this is what people are grasping onto rather than the fact that he put basically human time bombs into nursing homes in New York.
Bingo.
Leading to thousands upon thousands of unnecessary deaths through his policies of putting people who tested positive with COVID back into nursing homes. Somehow people completely gloss over this one. And, out of the two sins committed, I think that that one is the more serious one.
Yeah.
Than, it's not diminishing how he's behaved towards women, et cetera. I don't know all the details of that, but it amazes me that we're living in a society where that one is considered, we can gloss over that first thing, and that's the one that,
so
might bring him
you think
down.
he should step down?
Absolutely. He should have stepped down.
He killed 50,000 people. He should have
last year when he was accepting, he got an Emmy Award.
But we all know that's not going to happen. So we all know that's not going to happen.
I don't think he's going to.
He wrote a best-selling book.
What I'm saying to you is all of that what you're saying, that's not going to happen. He's not going to step down because of the nursing home. That's not going to happen. I'm talking about should he step down for these investigation that comes up. I'll just read it to you. Biden calls out Cuomo to quit after damning sexual harassment report, The Guardian reports. Joe Biden has led the calls from both parties for New York Governor Andrew Cuomo to resign after an investigation. New York Attorney General Letitia James unveiled the results of an investigation on Tuesday shows that Cuomo engaged in unwanted groping, kissing, and hugging and made inappropriate comments to multiple women. I think he should resign, said the president. So it's not like, you're sitting here and then asked about Cuomo's attempt to defend himself by using an image in which he's making physical contact with Biden himself. The president said, look, I'm not going to fly-spec this. I'm sure there were some embraces that were totally innocent, but apparently the attorney general decided that there were things going on. So
he blamed his Italian heritage. I'm Italian. We're a little handsy.
Come on, man.
But so on the premise, on the story of 11, should he resign based on that?
I lean to a yes.
Adam.
Look, there's a lot of people that are asked to step down. Some people do, some people don't. I mean, do I think he's going to step down? No. I also think
he should. Do you think he should?
Okay, so they didn't. What they're asking him to step down for are these harassment claims. Hear you on that, bro. Like everything he did with the nursing homes. I don't live in New York, so I'm not following all that much. But there is something called due process. I mean, if these accusers are not lying, he does deserve his time in court. I'm not a Cuomo guy or an anti-Cuomo guy. I'm not.
Should he resign because of this?
I don't think he should resign.
Okay.
I don't think
Gerard.
he will resign. But if the facts come out that he did do this, fuck yeah.
No, well, the facts did come out, so that's what they're saying.
Well, not in a court of law, though.
So if I'm Andrew
the
Cuomo,
president is asking you to resign. He's a Democrat. It's not like a Republican's calling out a Democrat. A Democrat
That's
is
maybe
telling
for political
the president
talking
a
points.
Democrat calling a Democrat to resign.
Yes,
That's
so
not
that,
quite
this
rare.
is exactly.
Well, a lot of the news are
it
from
is and
the
it isn't.
Democrats
It
are
is and
coming
it
after
That's
isn't.
like Trump asking DeSantis to resign.
And would DeSantis resign?
No,
Trump told him.
wouldn't. If Trump asked to resign, if DeSantis had something like this, the amount of pressures would be for him to have to resign.
Well, you brought that up.
Yeah.
How many people, when speaking of groping, asked Trump to drop out of the race when that Billy Bush? Yeah, I get what'd he say?
What
Like,
I'm saying
grab
to-
him in the pussy.
that's what I'm asking
They
you.
said him
All
to
the-
drop out. He
all the
wins the race
people-
and he becomes
I
president.
think
It's
that's
very
very different.
How's it different?
I think that's very different because that would be like, firstly, that tape was from like the 90s, right? That was
No,
like
not from the 90s.
It was from decades before he became
No,
president.
not decades. Maybe a few years.
Was
Billy
about
Bush, Access Hollywood.
Let's fact check.
I'm gonna check it
what was
right
the date
now.
of
I don't
that? I
think
think
it
it
was
was at
90s.
least a decade before.
I'm going to check it.
But
I
the
think
point
it
is,
I think it is over 10 years.
Yeah, it was
Alright, fine.
that was a private conversation right? Like, let's be real. We're all guys here. We're not. Let's not.
It was
Locker room
2005.
talk.
2000, yeah, it's 10
Okay, so
years.
exactly 10 years.
Yeah,
Exactly
so-
10 years.
Right,
That's
so
a
that-
long time.
Yeah, that,
I agree.
but that's a private conversation.
The
that he
conversation
didn't
I had
know
with
was
Caroline
recorded.
before this started was way worse.
Let's be real, men, women, people. We've all had conversations
This
in
guy.
private that
Community.
you wouldn't want to come out
Touche.
to the
Yes.
public, right? He wasn't president at the time. It was a private conversation.
Basically,
you know,
every conversation I had with Gerard.
Yeah, exactly, right? You wouldn't want that coming out there. People make jokes, whatever. So, you know, and yeah, so that's a different thing to actually like physically groping people. And was that done while Cuomo was governor, right?
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so
Correct,
it's
yeah.
totally different. You're talking
So
about a physical act, and you're
so
talking about.
here's the
I'm
deal.
talking about the fact
Yeah.
that he was asked
Yeah,
to
no,
resign.
I don't think
Look,
Cuomo. I don't think Cuomo should resign because Biden said he should. Right? I think what he actually has done, allegedly, if he did it and
Yeah.
he's got that guilty conscience and he's like, you know what, like I screwed up,
Yeah.
then yeah, I think.
By the way, is there a
Next-
worse word
next
to have
5
attached
moves.
to your name than allegedly?
Yeah.
They're not, allegedly, he donates all his money to charity. It never.
Yeah,
It's always
yeah.
like allegedly he's doing some groping.
Here's
It's
a
never
question.
good word.
Here's a
Next
question,
five-
though. Go ahead.
Well, next 5 moves, right? We're not asking the right questions, frankly. Why you said it's rare for a Democrat to tell another Democrat. It is and it isn't, because what is never going to happen in New York? What will never happen in New York State, right now?
Tell us.
Will a Republican ever be elected either mayor of New York City or governor of New York State?
I think so.
Let's not say never.
I think so.
Giuliani
Not-
was there. I mean, it's not.
Not in this environment and not right now. We're talking 20,
I don't
25 years
know.
ago.
I think the
I'm
best
telling-
ideas always win. So
this-
if the people are sick of the wokeness,
Trust
they
me.
could
Just trust me on this. They would not.
trust the Jersey guy.
Just trust me. They would not be doing this if they thought there was any chance of them losing the gubernatorial bid.
All right, that
so they're
makes
going to
sense.
take out Cuomo, who has tried to sprint left with his rhetoric, but is actually a pretty moderate dude.
Yeah.
And why? Because they want to push further left. The epicenter of the far left progressive movement, Justice Democrats in particular, is Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah.
That they have Brooklyn, New York, and they have L.A. and like a cancerous cell, they are spreading from there. So right now you have Yang and you have AOC. AOC can moonwalk into the mayor of New York. She polls incredibly popular in New York. And Yang is not polling well, and they want Yang. Yang would poll well as the governor. So the progressive wing of the party can get a 2-for-1. This is what I told you was going to happen. The Democrats are not worried about Republicans because Republicans have no fight in them, and they've given up on these areas. They have no fight whatsoever. They're not going after New York. They're solidifying the areas that they have. So now the Democrats are kowtowing to the far left progressive wing of the party, and the far left progressive wing of the party is going after Cuomo. So if Cuomo's not going to resign, what Cuomo needs to do is push back, and he needs to immediately say, hey, Joe Biden, that's an interesting thing. You think I should resign. What happened to that woman that you used as a bowling ball that you ended up deciding, that nobody needs to know about that? We're worried about Trump talking about grabbing a woman by the kitty. You were actually accused of doing it in the halls, and she was your intern. And somehow, some way, she disappeared on the campaign trail. Somehow, some way, she went away. Why don't you resign, Uncle Joe? Why don't you take corn pop and go down to Delaware and braid your leg hair? No, I'm going to stay right here, all right, until you resign first. And then
I got to define half the stuff you're saying. Go down to Delaware and braid your leg hair. Is that like a slur? What is
Cuomo
that?
needs
Corn pop.
Corn pop.
Corn
yeah.
pop was a bad dude.
Hey, it's a bowling ball. Hey.
Then you got Cuomo needs to then immediately turn hard against the left side of the party, and that is how he can redefine himself and get
we-
reelected.
He won't do it.
Can we just?
When he's out.
We need to just defund all of these politicians, man. Like,
Slingshot him
Well,
into the
who
sun.
just won? I don't know. Again, not from
Big
New York,
slingshot
but who just
into the sun.
allegedly won the mayor of New York City race? It was a black conservative former. Who's winning? Mayor of New York City.
It's Bill de Blasio.
But there's a new race going on right now.
Yeah, but it's not till next year.
But
Bill de
there's
Blasio was
polls
put
going out right there. Who's the guy at the top of the
By
chart?
the way,
conservative at
let
all.
me ask
Yeah,
you.
he's a
say-
former police officer.
Gerard,
far left.
If he
He's a former
resigns,
chief of the police officers union.
If he resigns, who takes over?
If who resigns?
If Cuomo resigns, who takes over?
Would be his the assistant. It's not the attorney general. They have a weird secession. They don't have an assistant governor.
Can you pull up who takes over if Cuomo resigns? Kai, just go Google that real quick. Who takes over?
By the way, is it ironic that the governors of
This would
two
be
of
his
the-
fourth term, by the way.
Oh, really?
They have no. I
Is
don't
it
believe they have
ironic
statute
that
of
the
limitations.
governor of New York and the governor of California are both being asked to resign or getting recalled.
Hochul. Who's Kathy Hochul? Kathy Hochul. She's the next in line in case he was to resign.
Now, I'll tell you somebody who should
Search
have
her
resigned.
name. Kathy Hochul. See who that is.
Chris Christie
called
should have
Cuomo's-
resigned after Bridgegate. And then that would have given Kim
Go to
Guadagno an
Wikipedia,
actual
yeah.
fighting chance against Phil Murphy
Right there,
and
second
save
one.
the people of New Jersey.
Wikipedia.
These 8 years of horror Phil
Kathy
Murphy
Hochul
has
didn't
given.
is
resign.
an American lawyer.
Phil
and
Murphy,
politician,
you the
citizen,
ultimate
Lieutenant
knuckleheads.
Governor,
The buck-toothed Goldman Sachs, Boston-ass bean count.
She'll be the first female governor of the New York State. Hochul served as a county clerk in 2007 in Congress. She was assumed her seat in Congress. Previously, she was a deputy county clerk. Interesting. So she would take over if Cuomo was to resign.
By the way, Andrew Cuomo's team, since you're watching this, we have reached out to you multiple times for an interview request. Multiple times. If you could just respond to us one time, that would be fantastic. Really appreciate you.
And what we reached out to them is a special project that will be announced here soon that may do pretty good. I don't know if we can reveal any of it, but may do something special here when it's launched. Anyways, okay, so Cuomo, you're saying yes, you're saying no, you're saying he's not going to, you're saying he should, and you're saying he should. So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.